back in the old days, people used harnesses for ploughing. If you wanted a horse to plough, you put a harness on it, because that's the strongest bit. If you wanted a dog to pull your sledge, you put a harness on it. Everyone else used a collar and lead, or a slip of rope or something. And now we've got, I suppose about 80–90% of people putting harnesses on dogs when they're not supposed to be on dogs. They make them walk funny if they're not out in front pulling. Harnesses are bad for dogs, but we've had this modern thing come in that dogs are going to die if they have a collar and lead on. Despite 3,000 years or more, probably more, of having things tethered around their neck and being led around with them. The strongest part of any dog's body is its head and its neck. Hang on a minute.
Merry Christmas to
you.
you.
Oh yes, sorry. Merry Christmas, everybody. The strongest part of any dog is its head and neck. They spend their whole life running around, sometimes 40 kilometers an hour, hitting other dogs and trees and everything, with the head down, running around, and their nose hits it too. People say dogs' nose, they're really sensitive. They're not really sensitive, because they hit things with it, smack on, and then roll over, do tumbles. They're really tough dogs. But if you put a harness on them and don't let them go out in front pulling, they're walking funny. Every time, as soon as that thing pulls them, they're up on one leg if they're alongside you. Not exaggerated, but it's there. They spend 6 years doing that. That is very harmful for their limbs. So this modern thing brought about by people like the RSPCA, who haven't got a clue what a dog needs. They just want to go, you can't do that, it damaged their neck. Well, that's just an absolute nonsense, because they haven't got a clue. What damages them is not having the right harness to pull out in front. All the husky owners, the real racers, they spent thousands and thousands of dollars in research how not to harm a dog when it's pulling in a harness. And the thing is, they've got special harnesses that go exactly in the proper place, and that pulling rope has to be as flat as possible. So when you see a sledge dog, they've got a fallback harness, and that rope is coming with a bungee on it to take the strain, as flat as possible across the back, pulling from here. When you put it on the pet dog, they're pulling from closer, so they're pulling up all the time. So even when you're bike jawing, which is riding your dog on a bike,
hang on. What does riding your dog on a bike mean?
Going on a push bike with your dog running alongside or pulling out in front.
Okay,
Bike
so it's
jawing,
like dry mushing.
Yeah, exactly the same as dry mushing, but you've got a bike. Well, dry mushing, which is bike jaw, you've got a steeper angle because you're up higher. Hang on, my assistant is trying to reach for her wine. It is Christmas, so the camera will go a bit wobbly in a minute while she gets her drink. So go and get your drink.
She needs her champagne, all right? So
we'll take a drink break.
You've got your red wine.
We've got a drink break.
I've got my champagne. Cheers. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Right. Okay.
Yes. On bike jawing, you've got your rope, your lead, and it's coming at a steeper angle. So you don't use a fallback harness. You use the type of harness that you see everyone walking their pet dog on. Because it's a steeper angle, you don't want to be pulling that back up. So it's a compromise. But they're out in front. If you're going on a bike or walking, you do not want a harness on your dog, because it's constantly lifting them up and making them like that. And I'd say 99.9% of the population cannot see that. I see it all the time, a dog walking funny. And this brings me on to the greyhounds in particular. Greyhounds should never be in a harness ever. Pardon? My assistant's saying something. I wish she'd speak up because I can't hear her.
Talk about the fact that many people are now, in a wonderful way, and we're very happy about this, rescuing former racing greyhounds. So they're becoming very, very popular, particularly since the Kardashians adopted a whippet.
Oh, she's drunk too.
She's too drunk. So the Kardashians adopting a whippet, which are related to greyhounds. Greyhounds are becoming very popular, and they're a breed that people need to know more about. And you are a greyhound whisperer because...
Well, just a minute, I just want to clear that up. The Kardashians are related to greyhounds.
The Kardashians,
I know they're weird, but
adopted
is that what you said?
a whippet. Whippets are related to greyhounds.
Okay.
Keep with the program, Andrew.
Okay.
Keep with the program.
And well, everyone that's viewing this, well, if you go to my Facebook page, Dogman Downunder, you'll see why I can't go through my whole resume of why I know greyhounds. I just know
but you can basically say, I grew up with greyhounds.
I grew up from a tiny kid with greyhounds in greyhound kennels. Loads of relatives working with greyhounds, many thousands of them, and worked in greyhounds.
That's all we needed. There's a little bit of a recap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you grow up with a species, if you was a horse person and you grew up in stables, you grow up, you can see those little things that horses doing wrong. You can see a horse trotting and instantly know if it's got something wrong. Well, that's what I can see with dogs, because I grew up with that. It's the same as, I watch tennis, professional tennis, in Wimbledon. The commentators that are professional tennis players that have played it from a tiny kid, they go, oh, he's a bit forward with that serve. And I think, what the hell are they on about? Because they look, it looks just normal to us. Well, I can see a dog walking funny all the time. So I can see greyhounds not walking properly in harnesses, and they don't, and it's harmful for them, and there's no need for it. Absolutely no need. Greyhounds walk very well on the lead. So I wish everyone would just throw their harnesses away. If they haven't got a dog pulling out in front, just get rid of the harness. They're bad for dogs. And which leads me onto another subject, which I don't know why it leads me, because I want to talk to another subject.
Have another drink, Andrew.
I wish people would get the right dog for them. Oh, that's why it led me to it, because the greyhound is a brilliant pet dog, ex-racing greyhound. I'm dead against breeding greyhounds for puppies for pet trade when there's thousands of them looking for homes, and they are just perfect dogs to have for a pet. And most people need a greyhound rather than any other dog because they're so laid back. They smoke pot for a living, not for a living but for recreation, so they're always laid back. My lovely camera girl, unseen by the camera, let's just give the dog a nudge who's chewing herself and making a noise. Hang on, give her a little interval in a minute while she stops the dog chewing herself and sobbing.
Hey, Kushti, or Mumper, whoever you are, stop fucking licking.
Anyway, they're great pets. Get a greyhound. Greyhounds are good for flats. They're much better than the little terriers that bark their heads off, because they rarely bark. They just want a sofa. You have to have a sofa for them to lay on. That's essential. You're banned from owning a greyhound if you don't have a sofa for them to lay on.
Or a couch.
Oh, couch, yeah, they call them couches. So that's a golden rule. You'll be fined, banned from owning any dog if you get a greyhound and don't give it a couch to lay on. And what was I leaving? Oh yeah, get the right dog for you. So many people get working dogs, breeds, not necessarily working breeds.
Yeah, but just give an example of a working breed.
Right, they get a Kelpie and they think they're going to keep it on the lead all the time. or let it run around the garden chasing the ball.
What other breed?
Let's have they get a German Shepherd, and they're not going to, they don't want it to attack people that come to the door. Well, why would you get a German Shepherd? Why would you get a protection breed? What else have we got? We got a sausage dog, and they live in a flat where everything echoes, and they don't want their dog to ever bark. Well, it's going to bark. It's bred to bark. It's bred to go down and attack badgers underground and stay there for 10 hours or more, barking its head off. And it's going to bark. You can stop them barking on, you know, all right, that's enough. But they're going to bark the next time when the door knocks for a bit.
What about collies?
Well, collies are the same as kelpies. If you can, you know, if you've got 3,000 sheep to round up every day, you can keep it and then just use it for rounding up the sheep. If you're going to have it for a pet, you're going to have, well, collies are different from kelpies. Kelpies are more, they just need exercise and a job. But collies, they're so varied, they're so mixed up in their heads. So you've got a lot of variants with collies, but they're all hypersensitive to noise, and they all need a huge amount of exercise, and they all need a job to do of some sort.
What about golden retrievers? A lot of people love goldens, but they don't realise they're a working breed.
Yeah, but I think their golden retrievers has gone the working bit. It's that exercise and whirly mind. They have got a happy whirly mind. Unlike, you know, a collie is not necessarily a happy working mind. They can get aggressive and everything else. Golden retrievers rarely get aggressive, but they've just got this happy whirly mind that doesn't know much.
What about Labradors?
Labradors are
They're working dogs as well.
Yeah, but if you want a working dog, sorry. Oh, hang on.
Get her comfy.
Get comfy.
Have another drink.
Labradors, if you want a working Labrador, it's absolutely waste of time going just to buy a Labrador. You have to go to working dog strain.
But what about people that buy a Labrador because they hear that Labradors are just beautiful, gentle souls, and they end up with an aggressive lab? Because that's common.
That's the problem with Labradors, is there's so many different variations in the Labradors. If you get the perfect pet Labrador, they're the best pet going. But there's so many variations that we're getting aggressive ones, and particularly the chocolate ones. They've been bred for colour. Who gives a damn about the temperament? You've got a chocolate Labrador, and oh yeah, I can breed that and sell a chocolate Labrador for $5,000 or whatever it is. I don't know what the price is now. But it's aggressive to people or dogs. You can say, oh, I'm not going to breed it then because it's not aggressive. They don't do that. And you've got dogs like Labradoodles. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you could buy one of them, because it's a Labrador mixed in with it, I'd go and pay the extra money. There's breeders around that have been breeding generations of them now, and I know a couple in southeast Queensland. You're going to pay $2,000 extra over the top, but it's well worth it because they take their breeders. If they're not good temperament, they won't breed for them. And if they got future breeders, they sell them cheaper to someone and say, I've got to have it back in 2 years to breed from it. But they'll assess them. If they're not good temperament, they won't breed from them. They've got another one they breed from.
So what about cavoodles? They're really popular, and cavies are, back in history, working spaniels. Yeah,
well, back a long time in history, I think that's pretty well gone. But cavoodles are my #1 pet for people, for just a happy-go-lucky dog. I have not met one that's aggressive yet. I've met them that scream and they might frustration to get to another dog, but as soon as you let them go to the other dog, they've been fine. They're really good, and they're pretty healthy. I mean, I know I've seen reports in America they've got problems with them, with, you know, there's various, but in Australia and I don't know what it's like in England yet, but in Australia, for instance, I'd say go and buy one. If you just want a nice, happy-go-lucky pet, you've still got to train it, because they chew up everything and they do be wrong, and also they've got a bit of energy. You've still got to get rid of energy out of them and give them a life. This thing about keeping a dog on a lead for a life is really bad. I don't like that at all.
Well, how do you deal with getting them off lead if all there is a dog park where everyone's going to just fight every other dog?
You don't. You ignore all that.
What do? You
go out and you find somewhere where there's no people. You let them off and you have to walk.
Like where?
Like, let's say, Google map, look for green and go out and explore it. And look around and say, oh, look, this is a green area with short grass. So
what about a fire trail somewhere?
Yeah, you can go up in a forest. The key to letting your dog off for the first time is walk. And if you've got a 7-week-old pup, ignore the vets, get out there, somewhere out of the way, let the dog off, because that dog will follow you from 7 weeks old. You know, the vets will have you keep your dog on a lead for indoors, rather, not on a lead, indoors for 5 months now, some of them. And it's 7 weeks old. Where's all these parvo stray dogs walking around giving everyone parvo in the city in December? And you'll get the vets saying, yeah, we've had it, there's a outbreak of parvo. Well, where they're getting the parvo from, I don't know, because I haven't seen a stray dog for 10 years walking around. But where's these people in rich suburbs that aren't inoculating their dogs? And so I'd get it out, away from the towns, and just walk and get them off the lead. I can't give you a whole thing about how to get a recall going on just this video, but pick your right dog for you. It's no good going, oh yeah, I'm energetic, but I'm going to keep my dog on the lead. You know, I have an energetic dog because I walk twice a day. You've got an energetic dog, you've got to run it. And so if you can't do that, don't have it. Pick the right dog for you. If you want to know how to pick a right dog, just ask me and tell me your lifestyle and I'll tell you. And if you have any questions, just ask me. And now it's goodbye from me. No. I think the wine's slightly slightly interfered with my judgment, my speech rather. It's goodbye from...
Goodbye? Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Try goodbye.
Goodbye from...
Me?
Who's me?
You.
No, I'm pointing at you.
Oh, I don't know. Goodbye from me.
No, goodbye from...
Margot.
All right, I'll do it.
Oh, you do it.
It's goodbye from Margot. It's goodbye from Mini Margot. Mini Me Margot. And it's goodbye from me. Merry Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.